Turning light brightly.
Okay, first group of the day. Welcome. Everybody awake yet? Kinda. Going. Well, welcome. Thanks for coming. My name is Mark Millspaugh. I'm the director of the model shop here at Hasbro. So I think this is the first stop for you guys, right, on the tour? Okay, very good. So in this department, what we do is we take a designer's idea and we turn it into a three-dimensional model. And we use these models for a variety of reasons. We'll use these prototypes to do package development. We'll use them for television commercials. We'll use them to present the toy to retail buyers like Walmart and Kmart, Toys R Us. And as part of that development, what we'll do a lot of times is we'll also use those to, like I said, support events like Botcon. We'll have some models down there. We'll shoot television commercials. So we also send people, model makers and model artists, to those events to make sure that they keep working well and looking good. So we'll do things like Toy Fair, Botcon, Comic-Con, television commercials, trade shows. We'll actually go to the retailer sometime and put on those presentations. In this department, we have several people. We have about 30 people in this department. We have model makers, we have a photographer, an electrical engineer, we have a person that just works on plus, so like something like butterscotch like this. Kind of turn her around. You can see her. What else? We have model artists. So we have a variety of people that work in this department, and our responsibility is to work out the aesthetics and the function of a toy. So a lot of times what we'll use a lot of different methods to do that. Sometimes we'll just use a foam core, just simple cardboard, do a line drawing, paste it on there to get the feel for how big we want a toy to be. The next step, we would probably do like a foam core model like this one right back here. Not quite organized yet, but just to kind of start working out the aesthetics of it, make sure size and fit, make sure we had some, on this particular model, we had some little cars that were already developed. So we want to make sure that they fit in there for like a little car carrier. And then what we'll do is we'll work on to a more refined model. Some of them range from as simple as just an action figure like this that has roto-molded heads, like Tinkerbell. It's just a one-piece roto-molded figure like that, to more complex models like TJ's fairy tale here. This is something we worked on last year. TJ kind of looks like that on the inside, so he's a little creepy looking inside, but I always like to get the kids really, really close. Say, oh, look at Furby, isn't he nice and cute and cuddly? Well, he really looks like this on the inside. I'm going to try that with you guys. But so we'll do a complex models like that. We do everything in the company's portfolio, brand portfolio, except for the games. Park Brother Milton Bradley is in East Longmeadow and Springfield, but we do Nerf, Super Soakers, Tiger Electronics, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Play-Doh, Play School, so we have a very diverse portfolio. So it's pretty exciting here. A lot of talented people here, and we also use the development of these prototypes are very, very expensive to develop. So we use a library system. Once we develop these, we're making about 10,000 models a year. We make about 2,000 new products a year, and that equates to about 10,000 models a year. So behind you there, which please don't take pictures. And that's actually why we have the foam core put up there, is because there's a lot of stuff. And we have the license for Indiana Jones that they just started shooting in June of this year. It'll be out in May of next year. So this is actually a prop that we're going to use at a trade show. So sometimes we get involved in things like that too. So there's the arc that we're kind of putting together. Pretty neat. Anybody got any questions?
When you said you produce about 2,000 bottles a year, is that 2,000 things that go to market, or is a percentage of that not actually get on?
Well, that is 2,000 items that we will go to market with. We work on a lot more than that. You're alluding to, yeah, there's a lot of development stuff that we do work on, that what we call die on the vine, that are ideas. We do a lot of conceptual stuff where we may we may end up doing a model like this, and then we start the costing process, and we find out that we just can't make margin, we can't make money on it, so we won't go to market with it. But there are things that are in development too. The technology just doesn't pan out. Maybe it's a little bit before its time, or we find out we got ergonomic issues, things like that. We have a fun lab, what we call the fun lab here, and sometimes we'll make a model and we'll send it up there for kids to make sure that it's fun, number one, and also to see if we got any kind of ergonomic issues with it. Like we've made blasters, like we had these blasters that we thought was going to be fantastic, but when you filled them with water, it's like for the demographic 4-year-old, it's like he's carrying around 2 gallons of water. Like okay, well maybe that needs to be pared down a little bit, or things like that. So anything else? Any other questions? I know they got a lot of stuff out in the hallway for you. It's going to be really pretty cool, I think, for everybody, and Botcon's going to be fun. So thanks for coming in, and enjoy your day.
Thank you. Thanks.
Very good. Okay. Thank you. You bet.
All right, guys. Can we see what's in that room if you don't take photos?
Well, as you come in, did you peek in there? All right. Well, a lot of that stuff, like things we have here, it's all component stuff, so it's all, it's all being put together, so there's not a lot of stuff that are, fully constructed. These items, of course, Marvel's going to tell you
What they want out of it.
Sure, okay. Sure. And, the model artists, while the model makers are working out the function of the item, we have a group of model artists, they're working out the aesthetics. So what they'll do is they'll be painting these, and what we'll do is we'll go to Marvel and say, we got to get license approval, and we'll say, yeah, this is exactly what we want it to look like. And then these models are actually the aesthetic guide to put into production. So these are the very first ones. So these are all hand painted. So for instance, a 1999 Unleashed item at retail is probably about, like these right here, these are all Star Wars Unleashed items. So these retail, for $19.99, they're about $3 or $4 grand a piece sitting there. So you got just right there, you got $100 grand worth of stuff sitting there.
That was the original Megatron figure that you guys had before the head was changed, wasn't it?
I'm not sure about that one, to tell you the truth. These, we kind of set these out there because what we do is, and you'll see this out there, Jennifer Manning is the person that works in this department, and she'll actually talk about a little bit more about development, but we'll get gray models in first, and we'll develop those, use those for the very first one for what we call the paint masters. The paint masters are the ones that go to the Orient. But then the first shots off of the production tour.
Just
Todd Patrick, and I'm the product development engineer. I'm a Transformer, and
Mike Baylog, I'm the brand manager, so we're on the marketing side. Todd and I work together on the product line.
and what we're going to talk about is some of the first shots, which you see. Some of you call them prototypes, but it's not really prototypes. It's just the first shots. It's actually what you're looking at here are the very first assembled shots that we, get from the Orient. And when these shots come in, they come to me and Mike, the designer, and myself. We all review these shots and we check for fit and function. We also check for any safety and reliability issues. Just overall, how's the toy coming together. And as you notice, a lot of this stuff is really loose. It's just really bad. It's falling apart. Really loose. So what I do is just sit down and we'll make a list of what's going on, what needs to be fixed. And then what I would do is report that information back to the Orient, my counterparts, and then they would make the adjustments. At the next stage, after the adjustments are made, they'll send another set. How it is, the layout in the package. As you can see, it's not in the right box. The graphics are incorrect. But our main goal right here is, how's it presented in the box. As you can see, this one is really off. This the try-me hole is out of position with the try-me. So those are the kind of things that we, inform the Orient that we need to correct it, or it needs to come up in the blister a little bit more.
And one of the things you guys will see, the two different holes here, you'll see them later in the leader assortment. We have Optimus, Megatron, Brawl. Because they are all different, and obviously we try to get the assortments in the same package throughout, we're always adjusting to make sure the try-me is accessible throughout. It's not always the same point. The figure layouts are different. This guy has big turrets on the top, so we need to lower them and shift them over. So it's really, we go through a couple stages where we see them in package, and then really make sure we pay them off the best we can on shelf.
There's Starscream right there. There's another example, just to give you a different of the structures. This is going to be coming out kind of cool Starscream, but you can see it's not in the correct package, but the structure is right. It doesn't have the graphics, and again, we're just looking at the layout and trying to adjust it, get the best presentation in the package as possible. So it's going to be really cool. It's going to be in a cool package, and then once we get the layout. Mike, you want to talk about one of the final products?
But we basically go to stage, FEP stage, which is first engineering pilot, and basically what that does, it's the first time we see the product in package in the correct layout that we want. And this is really our last stage before it goes to mass production for us to make any final tweaks we want. For example, if you look at this Recon Barricade figure, this was an earlier stage. See the light bars painted out. There's not a lot of detail on the side. And when you look at it at first, you're like, oh, that's decoed, it's done. And then when you put it in package and take another look, you realize there's some other things we can do. So we left the light bar clean, added some detail on the side with striping, make sure the angle is right in the package. And then this is also our final chance to kind of go through and really match up kind of mundane things like, does it have the right part number on it? Is the character right? Is all the package copy correct? And the FEP stage is really where we have a chance to make any final comments we have on a product before it goes to mass production.
Quick question for you, just regarding the Masterpiece Starscream. I know that they released that model in Japan about a year ago or so, and a lot of people were reporting that it had some stress some parts getting stressed, a bit of breakage and whatnot due to some, fragility of some of the joints and all that. Do you guys use that as an opportunity to modify, or?
We did do some modifications. The main thing that we addressed were safety issues. Okay. It is like a model, and it's more geared towards the collector. So the thing that we did was just basically take out a lot of the sharp points, but for the most part, it's very similar to the Japanese version. But it's intended for the collector.
Yeah.
And just as long as there's no safety issues with it, it's going to be pretty cool.
And that's the right paint job for it too.
Yeah,
that looks great.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to move on. honestly, don't feel like if you didn't get a question, you won't have it all weekend. We'll be at the booth all weekend, so if anything else comes up, something pops in your head, we're happy to discuss any questions about anything you see here, really, anytime the rest of the day.
You're coming back this way. Don't worry.
Group 8, you guys having fun? Oh yeah. All right. We can file into this one.
Actually, it's a little bit tight. It doesn't have a, let's see.
Yes.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah. I'll never get it off. So this was kind of the last part of the presentation, but hey, you guys get a sneak peek, okay? Today, what I'm going to take you through is kind of what we go through when we do our management presentations internally as well as presentations to retailers. This is one of the main presentation rooms that we have, as well as we've got the today. But we'll wheel out these dioramas that have the product on it, so it makes it very easy and accessible. This is actually taken a few days ago that kind of come out, and also we have these terms that you're able to really just grab a product and bring it up and talk about it quickly. We also have TV monitors and things if we want to play sizzle. So like when you got early footage from the movie, we play that for the retailers to get them excited about the movie. And then we go through and talk about the upfront strategies that we want to do. I kind of went and pulled back some old information that we used way back before we even had a lot of footage from the movie, but we knew that the movie was coming. So we talked about wanting to grow the overall visibility of the property, and we knew that we wanted to take advantage of the 20th anniversary of the movie, the original movie, get the fans excited about Transformers all over again, not just you guys that are typically more involved in the brand, but even a lot of the older fans that maybe haven't thought about Transformers in like 20 years, but once the movie was coming back, they'd be excited about it. One of the things that you've noticed this year too is that we have kind of broken the mold and gotten a little bit broader of a product reach for kids, and that was a strategic goal of ours. We've had a lot of success with Transformers in that 5 to 9 year old kid that likes to play with puzzle piece Transformers, but a lot of younger kids get into the big summer blockbuster movies, and we wanted to make sure we had product that was accessible to those kids as well. So that was a big strategy for us to grow beyond just what the typical type of product that you've been able to see. And then other categories as well, both in toy and licensed. So you've seen a lot of broad product ranges from Transformers for the movie. This was kind of a way to kind of think about the 3 stages of the marketing program. We had building the buzz before the movie, and this was the plan that we had of creating that classics line, having that coincide with the 20th anniversary DVD, getting that program out to get everybody excited about Transformers again, really taking advantage of the movie buzz and building on the movie and the DVD, and then also wanting to follow up with the movie with the new animation. So that was all stuff that we had talked about for a little while, and it's actually nice to see it all coming through. This again talks about the different types of kids and adults that we were going after. The core business is still right in the middle. That's the #1 priority that we have, is to continue to do what we've always done best and do it better and better every year. But you can see there are other areas that we wanted to go after. This event action kit is really big for us because we didn't want a kid's lack of interest in wanting to play the normal Transformers way to inhibit them to be able to experience the property, hence things like the helmet. And then what we'll do is we'll go through the products, and we'll have a combination of board images like you see here, where, for example, when we're in mid-development, we might not have models in the house, so Takara emails back and forth with us a lot of the updated images, and we'll put together a nice presentation board to show how the development's going. So this is Ratchet from the Voyager assortment. We'll show early sketches for, this is actually a gray model that has been photoshopped to look like what it's supposed to look like. You can see the MP3 player basically turned out pretty close to what the original sketch was on that. Early sketch drawings for Transformers Tech, which is the new assortment that comes out here in a couple months. And one of the things here is I think the original concept was to do like little Nerf darts, but those are a little bit too big that fit the size, so that's why you see the projectile and things like that PDA. This is early rendering for the Cyberstomp and Bumblebee. We had a model of the Optimus Prime version, but we didn't have one for Bumblebee, so we kind of needed to show management what the differences would be in features as well as overall styling. We knew that Optimus and Bumblebee would come through really strong in the movie, and we thought that they both would be big kid characters that would be easy for them to really relate to. Early sketches for the robot heroes, which at the time we were just calling internally Transformers Galactic Heroes. And you can see, I think these were all Marcello sketches that pretty much all of them ended up, that's how we ended up styling them. I know the Optimus and looks like Grimlock Ravage and Shockwave all end up pretty much in the same pose here. And then this is an early sketch of the Target exclusive of the movie Scouts. One of the things that we needed to talk to management about was looking at opportunities of old molds that we had, of ones that we thought would at least fit the vehicle nodes. Could we, strategically use them to help fill some other gaps and be able to use in different ways? So this was kind of taking an old one, putting new sketch on it, and showing management that this could look like it could fit in the movie. So that was really key to be able to get that off the ground. And then we'll get these models. So the gray model here is the first gray model that we got of the Optimus mask, and that was when we really started to get excited from a management standpoint about the opportunity of that toy. We had this one originally, which we had first unpainted, and then we painted it because we started working on the movie before we ever had any reference. We knew the types of things we wanted to do, so the only reference we had was the G1 helmet at the time, so we wanted to make a mask first to be able to get people excited about it. And then as we started getting the new reference, we obviously updated it to look like the movie. And then even, this is kind of fun, we'll show some just comped up packaging that we make, and this was an early version of the movie package. A lot of the elements are there. We kind of had narrowed it down, but there's still a lot of details that are left off. And in fact, the title still says Transformers the Movie, because at the time we didn't know if it was going to be called Transformers or Transformers the Movie or even another some name. But we just sometimes just want to get an idea of what a blister is going to look like on that. So we threw Repugnus from Cybertron on there just to kind of get an idea, because it was an easy, quick way to do it. And luckily Samantha still had something like this in her office that we still held on to. So you can see we end up using a wide range of things in our presentations, from early sketches up through final painted models that we'll get both for internal presentations as well as retails. And you'll see some stuff out in the hallway that we get that are certainly along the way within the development process. Any questions?
Oh, go ahead. Is there anything on the back of the?
No, this is blank.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Can I have that helmet?
First one to ask.
Just really quickly, referring to one of your slides there, talking about Billy McBudd as having a movie and continue the momentum forward. A lot of people I know already are aware of the new cartoon, which is Transformers animated.
Yep.
A few of the promo shots have gone out already, which seem to be essentially the exact opposite in terms of style and design as the movie. So I'm wondering, in terms of the choice to go that route as opposed to a TV show based on the movie, if you could speak at all to the idea behind that strategy.
I can talk a little bit about it. We'll probably talk more about it on Sunday in the panel.
Okay.
But what I can say is the concept of the new animation, we actually started a long time ago, even before we got final models from the movie.
Right.
But we really wanted to look at the animation from an animation standpoint. We knew we had been having some problems with the placement of the TV show. It wasn't a good enough show to get on a good time slot, so we knew we needed to go back and rethink how our animation was going to be perceived so that we could get networks excited about it, get in an audience that could come into it. Also from a styling standpoint, I can't get into all the details, but because DreamWorks did the movie, we can't just do a TV show and pull those characters exactly how they look and put it straight into the cartoon. So there are kind of design reasons why we kind of went into this direction, as well as we couldn't have gone right off of the heels of exactly looking like the movie either.
Did the fact that there were so few active characters in the movie limit what you could do in the movie timeline? And I know you said you kind of you had to deep dip into the well and bring out. But even then, you don't have a large variety of products.
It did a little bit. It's kind of it's the good and the bad of it. Is the same thing came up with the animated series too. Is that the more characters you have, the less time you can focus on the characters to get people to actually care about them. And so this being the first movie, I think we didn't want a huge cast of characters because you wouldn't spend enough time on any of them. So what we ended up doing is really focusing on those core group of characters. And then we worked with Activision on, we knew they were going to have the same issue that we did, is we're going to need more characters, to really fill out the line. So we worked with them on developing, new characters to be used in the video game as well as, the toy line. So it kind of has its benefits because it gets kids into it a little bit easier, but then it does create, I guess, challenges that we weren't used to dealing with. I mean, we're used to having 40 different characters that we could choose from. So you can see, before if we did the character and leader, that was the only place we did them in. And that was something that we strategically didn't want to do either, is we didn't want the only place that you can get Optimus Prime be at, 40 or 50 bucks retail, because we knew we were getting a lot of new kids in. They needed to be able to play with the big characters from the movie. So we kind of took a different strategy on even where characters appeared within different assortments.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Sorry about that.
Thank you very much.
See you guys.
They have one of these boxes in the dealer room, right? I think I saw it through the door while we were in there's another one of these.
It's the other one.
This curious is supposed to wear this.
There's a.
This is just our photo op station, so you can take pictures of whatever you want here, ask questions. Please, sure can. That's what it's for.
Papa? Is your father home? Not sure.
Get in, guys. There'll be plenty of time for pictures after I give a little short color.
Toxitron.
Those are the new 6-inch titanium.
Alright. Y'all hear me alright? Alright. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Eric Siebenoller. I'm one of the lead designers on the toy brand here, Transformers. This is a very informal station. You guys, at any time, if you have any questions, and I'm talking, just go ahead and just raise your hand. You can yell with Eric. So, just take through it real quick. These are all images of like all of the design team here in Hasbro's office, and even the site team. And this is just kind of geared towards showing you that this is what our offices look like. This is the environment that we surround ourselves with when we work. We're not stuffy artist types. We're not hoity-toity. We're collectors in some regards of something. And we also have fun.
It's a broken dream.
Put it in that shelf. Dude, RC, come on.
Shockwave. Yeah. So this first shelf here is just all kit batch models that we had made roughly during the time when Alternators was first being conceived, and the Armada Energon time. And it would basically, we were just trying to pitch ideas to people around here, just like for the idea of realism instead of like the more cartoony style. Moving down here, as already mentioned, these are titanium 6-inches that are not going to be made.
Why?
I cannot believe
That is cosmos.
that's crazy.
Why won't they be made?
There's reasons that we do everything, and it's not just that we don't like the toys. It's a step, and it was obviously, as you guys can see, well, I don't know, some of you guys are kind of in the way, but there'll be pictures, plenty of time for pictures later, but. So, yeah, we had the Jazz concept. That was probably the first model that we made during the Alternators launch, and again, it was used to just like pitch the idea to everyone and kind of get everybody excited about the idea of doing realistic vehicles. The next Model 9, it had buttons on it. You could launch out the vehicles that were stored inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. I didn't know if you had it.
I was supposed to get some more, and I drove to New York.
Bruticus is head.
Which one?
It's kind of, we're following the sports where you got a small cast, but we're going to do a lot of different stuff.
Can I have your thoughts on Toxitron?
In what regard?
Oh, you know, whether you consider it pretty in a way, ugly.
I finally got a big shot. Everybody was in the way. I couldn't get 4 rows.
Oh, that's Cybertron.
If you look at a lot of the
Who's that?
Nope. Nope. Can I get a picture of the truck?
The Cosmos was supposed to be classics, right? Like it's been titanium and maybe like
you guys want
Botcon
to
exclusive?
funnel on down?
Alright, I think that's everyone.
Is everyone? Good morning. My name is Bob Lavoie. I'm the art director for Style Guide Design and Development. And Eric is my right-hand Boys Toys team man. In our little group, we take care of all the style guides for Hasbro's properties group. Anything that we out-license, our group does the style guides for. Has all the artwork that licensees need to make their product.
I'm Richard Zambarano. I work on the design licensing side. We oversee all of the product development, art director, our licensees from the concept stage right into production across all categories. So, you know, whether it be IDW and working with them on the comic, or with Diamond on the collectibles, or with all of the licensees that produce soft goods and apparel, we work on a wide range of product. You know, and work with a lot of different artists and design teams. We work directly with Bob and his team on development, and we work directly with the toy teams on specification for certain product development questions we might have. So.
When we start a style guide, we always get together with the brand team and go through what they're looking for in the guide. And since this is a licensing guide, we have to make sure we're on trend as well as being on brand. So we do a lot of trend research to find out what colors are going to be hot 2 years from now or a year and a half from now, what designs are going to be hot 2 years from now. We use websites, we go shopping. We pretty much try to see what's out in the marketplace. So when we do designs and illustrations for guides, they're useful for our licensees. What we try to do with Transformers is give them enough that they could pretty much pick up anything out of the guide to use for their licensed goods. We have over 100 badges, over 50 robot illustrations. I don't know how many colors. And, I mean, we started, Eric and I and 3 design firms started a year ago, and it took us a year to get. So we went from this was last July and about 2 months ago to the end, to the final stage. So we worked with ILM for the robots. So whatever we saw in the movie last night is what's in this book. I mean, they were taken. The Optimus is taken from there. Although Megatron is different because they changed it from the beginning to the end. So
Based on your feedback.
Yeah. So we try to include as much art as possible.
It wasn't even in the script yet, stuff like that. So my job then was to kind of start introducing the G1 elements to where they were coming with this new style. Not because they didn't like G1 or anything, they just weren't educated yet on all the aspects of it. Their job was to come up with a new style. My job was to help them overlay the characters we know onto that new style. So you can see here, we put this board together to show kind of the G1 style, where they were when me and my team started working with the art department. And we started up here. There's also some of the hybrids we tried to do. We tried to respect that new style, but bring in some of the elements that we knew were important. Ultimately, we kept pushing further and further to what we would call a G1 look. Optimus with the ears, a blue head. Here he doesn't even have the ears or the side fins. Bumblebee doesn't have the face there. He doesn't have the horns. So that was important to start to put that in ultimately to the final version. To get the new look, they never made it into the final script, so they were dropped. But you guys are probably familiar with some of the products we've made of these two characters. We worked on the weapons. We wanted to understand how they would ultimately fight. The art department was working on this look. They weren't yet into the visual stage of movement in that. That wasn't until ILM came on board, which was going to be a lot later than our toy development process. So we came up with a lot of these images in conjunction with them to figure out what they kind of gravitated to, and then we put that into the product. There's 2 stages. There's an art department stage, which does all this stuff in 2D or some rough 3D, and then when we get to the final look, that goes to ILM. And those models are very complex and elaborate, and you don't want to make changes once it goes to ILM. So all this stuff we tried to get it done by February '06. Forgiveness with new characters or subtle changes on known characters. Bringing the elements of the red chest in, certainly the head elements with the ears. How much skeletal detail could be there versus if you look at the thighs, more solid thighs. Breaking up the tires. If you saw in the film, that first transformation, his tires kind of explode. The idea was that everything on the car is actually alien. So those tires aren't made of rubber, the windows aren't made of glass. They're made of whatever the Transformers are made of. We had a lot of discussions about, well, if they're in a fight, what if they break their window and then they transform and they got a broken window? That's weird. That's why they wanted to go with this kind of no window look. And we said, well, it's all a different material, so it doesn't matter. Nothing breaks. So that was a progression there. You know, we picked our battles. You know, like I wasn't concerned that Jazz had the stripes and numbers, or was a Porsche. I was concerned that he was a sporty guy, a sports car, and kind of had the visor. That's what he was known for, with the visor. And ultimately, I think we got to a pretty good place on Jazz. So that's kind of the philosophy we took. We weren't trying to bring G1, the cartoon, to the movie. We were trying to make this new movie feel familiar. So that was kind of our philosophy. So push on up, take photos. Feel free to ask.
If you want some etching on the side, they're going to put it in the toy. So everything we want in there, you know, is done. And then even after that, we'll make some changes sometimes if we want some more detail or less detail. Then we get into a little bit of a cost reduction, which is needed to make the toy affordable for everybody to go out there and actually buy it. So we'll start pulling a couple pieces off, or if we're using too much plastic or something isn't safe, we might have to remove it. We'll then break it up into different molds accordingly to try and get it also more affordable. Then we will start to deco the entire toy. Each time paint is applied to the figure, which you'll learn about in the next stage here, actually costs a penny. And it only sounds like it's a penny, 2 pennies here and there, but really it adds up. When you have like 50, 60 ops on the toy, it tends to make the entire process more expensive. So as designers, we have to make the best looking product with as little paint ops as we're allowed. We'll then start to get some test shots from Takara. We will pass a couple of them off to our packaging department, where they will lay it out to make sure that the package they're designing fits our toy. We don't want anything sticking out or anything like that. And then we have the tough job as designers to play with the toys. It's very difficult. And make sure everything transforms just right and fires, and usually it comes in a funky color scheme and it's very cool. And then we push it out to final design. It gets packaged up, finalized, and even when it's finished, it can sometimes change as running changes happen or other things. Well, sometimes there's features on the package or something that's called out that's not supposed to be, and we'll have to do what's called a running change, where there's already thousands made, and we'll have to fix the change, and the next couple thousand that are made are correct. No, variants are actually, we think about those ahead of time.
Losing my voice, and I work in the model shop here. I'm a model maker. So what happens is I'm responsible for prototyping for Transformers, and we'll get great models in from Takara, as I'm sure some of you know. And this is a item that we're working on now. So it's a working, transformable gray sample. There's like 6 in the world. And here's 2 right here. This is him dismantled, and I didn't take him apart completely because I wanted to show some of the gearing that made that happen, you know. So all this stuff has to go back in the right place, and it has to work when I'm done with it. So what I do, and I have it with, this is Blackout, as you know. This is a project I'm working on now. He's due this week. And so I take them all apart. We receive deco input from design, and we'll have to figure out deco input like so you can see. And we'll have to associate, take the mold plans and sort all the pieces and figure out what goes white, what goes black, what goes orange, according to try and make this happen. I got to make this happen in 55 paint operations. That's not a lot, because, and I'll show you. The cockpit, for example, is in this black mold, okay? So the orange is paint on. It's not molded, it's painted on. So this is 1, 2 to get the orange, and because it's on a black piece, we'll leave white underneath. So between left and right, that's 8 right there. I haven't counted windshields, I haven't counted anything else. It's 8 gone. So you see how quickly we use these precious paint ops up. This is some of the things that came out of them, like the gearing and all that. So all that goes back together, and this is what he looks like when he's assembled, and here's his little lifeboat. And this is a photo sample now. So this is a simple painted sample of this concept is now a photo sample. A photo sample goes on to packaging photography. So when you look at your boxes, you gotta think of me because that's my model on the back. Because you know, we're on such a limited period of time. That sample will then turn into the paintmaster. The paintmaster is what goes to China. That's what they look at when they're trying to figure out if they can mass produce it within the price that we want, okay? So that's why the 55 paint op for this one is all important, because if we go over, we're in trouble. And it's partly my job to keep those guys in check, those designer guys. And then, let's see, some other things I have here. Well, mold plans are, of course, subject to change. This is actually a deluxe, this is the deluxe Bumblebee Camaro, 08 Camaro, so you can see how things are changing. All this stuff is moving around. People are like, oh, what's this guy going to be called? I don't know. I mean, this is all being figured out now. The instructions are being made now. They're starting to work on the package. It's all happening at the same time. Lots can change between now and then. And some of these changes we'll just make after my paintmaster goes. So my paintmaster's gone. I never see it again. And then, so to communicate some of the colors, we're using Pantone books like this. So everyone knows what we mean when we say A480C. Everyone is clear on that. We have the House of Color book here. This is actually the colors used in the movie. These are like the really nice cherry red metallic on Optimus. This is Got some other decos here, and then an ultimate Bumblebee that I dismantled, and I have a heart. The reason I thought you guys might want to see his insides. And then over here are some of the tools that I use. So I don't know if any of you guys are taking apart your transformers, but there's rivets. Those rivets, I just heat them up with a soldering gun. The plastic around the rivet will soften and pull them out really easy without damaging the transformer. Sometimes I do have to repaint production items, which are great, but at the same time they're like really tight, so I have to be aware of my tolerances, because this model will get transformed about 4 to 6 times before it even leaves the building. When it leaves the building, it has to look really good. So I don't want my paint to chip, I don't want anything like that to happen. So use automotive paint, it's really super durable. Some of it's hand painted, some of it's done, little things are hand painted, some, you know, we mask a lot of stuff off. This is need to go on some great tape, low tack, won't take anything off. And this is Optimus dismantled into 100 pieces. This is the later Optimus. I had to send them out to be silver medium, back metallized. So all those pieces will come back, all 130 of them, and I'll have to put them back together, solder all the chips back in and the battery connections so he lights up and talks again. Right? So that's next week. So any questions? There is room in there to answer someone.
G1, G1. Awesome. The G1 game.